Paul Lewis, All Blacks Barbarians is the definition of meaningless. Paul Lewis, All Blacks Barbarians is the definition of meaningless. If tonight's All Blacks Barbarians game is a celebration of 125 years of New Zealand rugby, why does it look so weird, like a possibles v probables All Black trial? What an opportunity missed. What a definition of the word meaningless. Rugby had better wake its ideas up. This match could have, and should have, been either an England v All Blacks fixture or, if only a Barbarians game would do for New Zealand rugby's 125th anniversary, a thinly veiled Lions team in a decider of the drawn series here. What other sport would miss out on the chance to stage such a world-class fixture? I know, there are injuries galore. The Northern Hemisphere teams start their autumn internationals the week after, and New Zealand rugby ended speculation about playing England by confirming they'd rather play the Barbarians because of a busy 2017 schedule. What we ended up with was a Southern Hemisphere extravaganza with one Northern Hemisphere player, an Italian few had heard of. Instead, the Barbarians squad contained no fewer than 13 New Zealanders: Dominic Bird, Ben Franks, Dylan Hunt, Stephen Luachua, Atumale, Luke Whitelock, Vince Aso, George Bridge, Richard Buckman, Mitchell Drummond, Andy Ellis, Richie Mounga and Julian Savia. Of course, there were obvious peaks of interest like the something-to-prove performances of Savia and Luachua and the emerging talent of Mounga. But it really did look, even with the addition of few Australians and South Africans, like a probables v possibles trial match. The old All Black method of setting a shadow test team against those who are not and seeing who performs well under pressure. I stand to be corrected, but I think the last probables v possibles was in 2005, ahead of the previous Lions tour, under Sir Graham Henry. Such trial matches were previously famous for throwing up bolters, think Graham Thorne and Neo Wolfe, among others, in an era when selectors could be persuaded by a one-off performance instead of the current system of long-term analysis. The trial match has been consigned to history, which is where the Barbarians could also reside if matches like this one prevail. Why no Northern players of note? England play Argentina next weekend, Scotland meet Samoa, Wales take on Australia and Ireland the Springboks. Oh, that's right, and New Zealand face France. So if the All Blacks back up, even though there will be few involved in both games, why can't the Northerners? Injuries aren't a valid reason. The All Blacks are on tour with a third of their top team, Owen Franks, Joe Moody, Brodie Ehrlich, Jordy Barrett and Ben Smith, missing. When it came to a possible match against England, both team management seemed to prefer 2018 even though that fixture is still 12 months away. But, even if this match had been played between understrength All Black and England teams, and check out the All Black starting 15, wouldn't that just build interest for the second match? When all the big boys would be aimed at each other, fuses lit. A meeting between the two best teams in the world would pack them in, even hastily arranged, though it must be acknowledged that last week it was reported the Barbarians match had already sold 55,000 of the targeted 65,000 tickets. But this just doesn't feel like a Barbarians team, and it is a crying shame there were no efforts to reproduce something like the famed 1973 encounter. It probably still rates as the most famous game of rugby ever played and which contained arguably the best international try Gareth Edwards ever scored. And not a Southern Hemisphere player in the Babas strip. That was a Kwasi Lions team after the Lions series win in New Zealand in 1971 and a controversial All Black tour in 1972-73, it produced some glorious, sidestepping, barbarian-style rugby with an edge. An All Black loss has never been recalled with such fondness, before or since. That is the special place Barbarians rugby holds. In these days when money and self-interest rule, the club's philosophy is attacking, entertaining rugby freed from the intensity of the must-win international program. That is traditionally followed by, entertainment freed from the intensity of the must-win international program. While last night's match might have broadly fitted within the Barbarians' mission statement, such clashes are at their best when there is a real edge between two hemispheres. Barbarians rugby is needed now more than ever, though now, more than ever, Northern players struggle to be released by their clubs. New Zealand rugby's 125th anniversary was at the heart of this match, so there is some excuse for the large number of Kiwis. The Barbarians' 125th was 2 years ago. Hare's hoping they can go for another 125. Last night's lineups suggest that might be difficult.